Y'all, not 50 Cent leaking some wild exclusive footage that Terrence Howard supposedly sent him about none other than Diddy's Freakoffs. ***. Terrence Howard is finally spilling the tea on Diddy, and trust, it's piping hot. For years, Terrence has been dropping hints about how he was blackballed from the industry after refusing to play along with some shady behind-the-scenes dealings. But now, with all the recent revelations surfacing about Diddy, it looks like we're finally seeing just who is really involved and what they were really doing. And get this, ***, Diddy isn't the only one getting exposed. ***, according to Terrence, Young Miami allegedly had a role in these so-called Freakoffs, too. But here's where it really gets nasty. Terrence claims he caught her on camera doing things that are, well, wilder than anyone could imagine. Now, let's rewind a bit. Terrence Howard popped up in a podcast interview just a few days ago. And let's just say, he came ready to speak. Unprovoked, he starts airing out some major accusations about Diddy. And from the way he tells it, his experience matches up with what a lot of others have been whispering about Diddy for years now. You know the rumors, shady invites, uncomfortable situations, and attempts to lure folks into messy scenes. According to Terrence, Diddy hit him up asking for help with acting. Which is kinda weird because, let's be real, Diddy doesn't exactly have a full-blown acting career. He's done a few roles, sure, but nothing major that would require lessons from an Oscar-nominated actor like Terrence. But Terrence, thinking it was strictly business, pulled up, only to be hit with some completely different energy. Diddy allegedly started acting real off, like he had some other kind of coaching in mind. But Terrence made it very clear very fast, ***, he doesn't
online, because that's really what it is. It's the photographs and stuff that come through the feed.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like, because she had like,
yeah, because she did put it out
stuck
there.
under the bed, like the booty's up in the air with her head stuck under the bed. At 60.
Hey, did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant. But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy party. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You didn't
play those games. ***, he wasn't with any of it and shut it all the way down. Absolutely. Here's a cleaned up, dramatic rewrite that keeps the energy and breaks it down with flow. Allegedly, Terrence Howard wasn't just speaking his truth. He was calling out a whole pattern of behavior. ***, he made it very clear that he wasn't the only one Diddy had tried to put moves on. In fact, he claimed Diddy allegedly made advances on every single man who attended his infamous parties. According to Terrence, those men lost their man cards at those events. Yeah, that interview? It's giving it ain't safe, it ain't safe. From what he's describing, it sounds like nobody's truly safe at Diddy's gatherings, because it's looking real shady out here. But the wild part? This isn't even Terrence's first time calling out that kind of behavior in Hollywood. He's been speaking on it for years, saying he was blacklisted and pushed out of the industry because he refused to play by their rules. A while back, Terrence opened up about the real reason he stepped away from acting. And no, it wasn't because he was tired or out of work. According to him, Hollywood was trying to strip him of his manhood. And when he took a stand and said no, that's when things changed. That's when they started labeling him as difficult and made him out to be the problem. It's the same old story we've seen play out, especially with women in the industry. The moment someone speaks up or refuses to fall in line, the industry flips the script on them. So when Terrence announced he was retiring from acting back in December 2022, folks were genuinely confused. He was still landing big roles, had a loyal fan base, and wasn't publicly dealing with any scandal. But according to Terrence, there was a lot going on behind the scenes that the public didn't see. He said he was constantly being pushed into uncomfortable situations, things that felt like deliberate attempts to chip away at his identity as a man. And once he pushed back, Hollywood wasn't feeling it. Next thing you know, he was out. Though he eventually stepped out of retirement, He's been moving real cautiously ever since. And he hasn't held back from exposing what he calls the darker side of the entertainment world. One major issue he's called out repeatedly: the pressure to wear a dress on screen. Terrence says he stood 10 toes down against it. According to him, the scenes had nothing to do with the story and everything to do with trying to humiliate or emasculate him. And let's be real, asterisk, he's not the only one who said this. Asterisk. Comedian Cat Williams echoed the exact same thing during his viral Club Shay Shay interview. He talked in depth about Hollywood's emasculation tactics, saying it's way more common than people think. Cat revealed he's turned down some very fat checks over this issue, just to stand on principle. According to both of them, it's never just about the dress. It's about what comes with the dress, compromising who you are just to stay in the game. Want me to roll this into a full breakdown or add more receipts from other celebrities? Here's a clean and cohesive rewrite that keeps the dramatic storytelling tone and fully breaks everything down. Yep. Terrence Howard didn't just pop out with some tea. He came with the exposé. After Cat Williams' explosive interview where he called out Hollywood for trying to emasculate black men, Terrence was quick to jump into the conversation. And he had some very interesting things to say. Y'all remember how the rumor mill had it? That Terrence was fired from major roles because of his temper.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction.
Or because he was difficult to work with? Yeah, well, Terrence shut that narrative all the way down. Asterisk. He came forward to clear the air, saying that the real reason he was pushed out wasn't about attitude. It was because he stood firm and refused to let the industry play him or strip him of his manhood. According to him, that's why they replaced him. He dropped a heavy line that hit hard. My daddy taught me never take vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raising sheep, I raise men. Stay a man. Being a man comes with a curse because it's not a society made for men to flourish anymore. Everything is androgynous. And he didn't stop there. In another interview, Terrence doubled down, saying that there's an intentional agenda to emasculate strong black men in Hollywood. He said, "The man has been demonized with a new formula. Most men are made to be effeminate and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be strong, but when it's black men, it's seen as a threat. I don't want to remove a few chromosomes to fit in someone's story. They need to expand their stories to allow men to be men and simultaneously appreciate a woman's beauty." And now that he's speaking out about Diddy, fans are starting to piece things together. And honestly, it's looking a lot like he's been sitting on receipts for years. But here's where things get even wilder. According to insiders, Terrence might be holding back some explosive footage, allegedly from one of Diddy's infamous Freakoff parties. Asterisk. And that footage? It allegedly shows Young Miami in some very compromising situation. You know the rumors: shady invites, uncomfortable situations, and attempts to lure folks into messy scenes. According to Terrence, Diddy hit him up asking for help with acting, which is kinda weird because, let's be real, Diddy doesn't exactly have a full-blown acting career. He's done a few roles, sure, but nothing major that would require lessons from an Oscar-nominated actor like Terrence. Now, at first, 50 Cent tried to keep his hands clean. After Terrence's interview went viral, 50 said, "No comment. I'm staying positive. God help us all." But lately, he's been hinting that he might just have his hands on that footage too, He's made cryptic comments suggesting he knows what went down, and it's allegedly nasty. And honestly, it's not that surprising, because the streets have been whispering about Young Miami's deep involvement in these Freakoffs ***, not asterisk as a victim, but allegedly as a participant, and even a conspirator. Let's not forget, when Diddy's other side piece, Gina Huynh, posted a pic with him, Young Miami went off. She allegedly sent Gina a heated message. "You've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You a certified freak. You a munch. Not even a real munch. Just a bee." But it didn't stop there. According to court documents from another lawsuit against Diddy ***, an anonymous woman, listed as Jane Doe, claimed she was drugged and assaulted at Diddy's home. She said that in July 2022, she went to his LA home at his request. While in his bathroom, she was allegedly forced to ingest an unknown substance, later learned to be ketamine, which caused her to black out and lose consciousness throughout the night. When she woke up, she had bruises and injuries, with no memory of what happened. She also said Diddy would force her to perform for him, ply her with alcohol and drugs, and that this continued until July 2024. Eventually, she became pregnant. And here's where Young Miami comes in again. Jane Doe claimed that after informing Diddy about the pregnancy, Carrie Shaw Brownlee, aka Young Miami, began harassing her. Allegedly, Young Miami repeatedly called Jane Doe and pressured her to terminate the pregnancy. Shortly after, Jane Doe suffered a miscarriage. This story is still unfolding. The lawsuits are stacking up. And if Terrence really is holding back more receipts, let's just say things might get a whole lot messier before they get cleaned up. ***. Want a timeline breakdown next? Or I can spin this into a video-style script too.